Nearly all consumers depend on more than one type of prey for food. Food webs are many interconnected food chains that illustrate how energy is passed through an ecosystem. This complexity enables different species to survive by not being dependent on just one food source as in a simple food chain. In Activity 12, students create food webs and look at the importance of why food webs are so complex. This activity will take about 40 minutes. The vocabulary introduced in this activity is food web. You will need from the kit the bottle of glue and one set of food cards for each pair of students. For each team of 2, you will need to provide one piece of 11 by 17 paper, markers or crayons, and a pair of scissors. Make copies of Activity Sheet 12. Copy a set of food web cards for each team of 2 using cardstock paper and cut them along the lines. Squirt some glue onto a scrap piece of paper or paper plate, or use a glue stick. Review a simple food chain with the students such as grass, mouse, and owl. Add cricket and a knoll to the food chain and ask the students how these could be connected to the food chain with arrows. Ask the students how this diagram is different from a simple food chain. Responses should be that consumers eat more than one type of prey or that prey is eaten by more than one type of consumer. Explain to the students that in most places, plants and animals are dependent on different food sources. When they look at their diagrams, this complex arrangement resembles webs more than chains and therefore named food webs. Give a copy of Activity Sheet 12 and an 11 by 17 piece of paper, scissors, markers, and glue, and a set of food web cards to each pair of students. Have them cut the circles out of the Activity Sheet 12 and glue them randomly on the large piece of paper. Also, have them cut the food web cards and stack them. Students should use the food chain cards to draw arrows to show how the energy moves through the food web. Johanna, let's take a look and see if we can find a place using one of your cards that we're going to draw the arrows to.
Okay, this card says flowers, and it's eaten by a cricket or a mouse. So
okay.
We start out with flowers, and the energy goes to
the cricket.
All right, so flowers to cricket.
Good. And I like the way your arrow shows it the food going into the cricket.
All right, and then the flowers' energy is also going into the mouse. Okay. Well, here's another one. This is a fox. This eats lots of different things. Why don't you tell me what they are? Here's the fox down here.
A fox eats robins.
Okay. There's the robin up here.
And it will eat a mouse.
I'm sorry. The energy of the robin goes to the fox. Sometimes kids might make that mistake, so we have to remind them of that.
Okay, and the energy goes from the
mouse.
Fox will eat a mouse.
So the energy goes from the mouse to the fox.
Good. And then it also would eat crickets.
Crickets. Okay, so the energy of the cricket goes to the fox.
Okay, and you can already see we're starting to get that web effect going on in our paper. Students will continue on with that. Ask the students to describe what their papers look like, food chains or webs. Be sure that they are processing that the relationships between living things are more like food webs than food chains. Conclude this lesson by having students explain why food webs rather than food chains exist in nature. Display the food web diagrams in the classroom or hall. Students may want to save the food web cards for additional activities as described in the connections. These may be collected and saved for the next usage. Return the bottle of glue to the kit. Guide the students to read pages 8 through 12 in the Delta Science Reader.